Spanish opening theory. Every book move about the Spanish opening. Let's start. It's called Spanish opening or Royal Lopez, but okay. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, and Bishop to B5. This is called the Royal Lopez opening, where basically like every grandmaster plays it, like a top level grandmaster plays it. And now there's a couple lines. I'll walk you through like every line. We start with the Berlin defense. This is the most drawable opening. But you castle on next move. You just want him to take your pawn. Just want him to take your pawn. You move your rook to center, attacking the knight and the pawn behind it. So now we'll go back to attack your bishop. Okay, there's a couple choices. You could take the pawn first, or you could take this horsey first. You could take, they could take by with the D or the B pawn. Doesn't matter. Be on the next move, you could take this pawn. Okay, if the threat is knight takes C6, the rook check. The rook attacks the king, the knight attacks the queen. That's the threat right now. Knight attacks the queen, rook attacks the king. Okay, if black plays this, don't do that anymore because that's no longer check. But if they ignore it, like for example, bishop to F5, you just take this with check on the king, attack on the queen, they block with the queen. You could just take the queen with the knight, and you win the game. Cool. Okay, let me reset. Rewind. Okay. Yes. Alright. Okay. There's another variant where they just defend. Defend the e-pawn like this. But this actually pins the knight. So you could play this. Because after takes, knight takes, the knight cannot capture the knight. Your knight. Your opponent's knight may not capture your knight. Because of the bishop pinning the knight to the king. And they kick you out, you could just take this knight. The reason they cannot take your bishop now, because their queen's under attack. You take this, and they actually cannot take this pawn. They have to, because I mean, it'll get very terrible if they kick your bishop. Because after takes, oh shoot, sorry, my pawn just flew everywhere. All right, because after takes the knight, the bishop takes, forking the king and the rook, and you win. There's a lot of traps in the Royal Lopez, I actually know. So like that's probably one take. The best move for them is actually just to block the pin, the bishop. Afterwards you take. If they take with a pawn, you just retreat your bishop. If they take with a bishop, you just take their bishop, damage their pawn structure, and you castle, have a comfortable game. Okay, another variation. Let me just reset again. Alright, the third variation I want to tell you about is this variation where the bishop goes to C5. Okay, first of all, you got, oh look, me take knight here. When they take back, I win pawn. No, that doesn't work like that, because after queen to E7, the knight drops back and the queen takes the pawn behind it, and it's check, and you don't win the pawn. You do not win the pawn. So that's the one thing. And you also lost the bishop pair, which is sad. Okay, the thing you want to play here is castles. You want castle. After that, they might be like, oh, I develop. Okay, after that, you actually take. Just kidding. Yeah, you actually take. They take back, you take this pawn. Okay, if they attack you, your knight drops back, the queen takes your pawn, but that's a blunder for black, because they can slide your rook into your center, pin the queen to the king, and you win. Because, okay, if they put their knight, take it with the knight. The rook still goes there. It actually pins the knight to the queen, and you could probably have some tricks where you win the knight later. Yeah, but after you, but what if you take and they take your pawn, and the knight's just back to back? Okay, the first thing is queen here. They did defend. You attack them. You attack the knight, force it back. Because well, I mean, the thing, they don't want to drop back, or else knight takes pawn, check, and you win the queen. And after queen here, knight, pawn takes, queen takes. All that capture, you'll be just up a pawn. You'll be just simply up a pawn. The queen cannot take this pawn because of a pin. Okay. But if you're like playing a bullet game, like. Oh, I'm just trying to reset. If you're like playing a bullet game, you could actually just slide your rook over here. But the thing is that after bishop takes pawn, you actually force your rook and king, and you don't want that. But if knight takes, that's not good actually, because then after you take this pawn with check, they block. They can't block because rook takes queen and you just win it. So the king slides here. Okay, nothing special yet. Okay, you look. Your queen's hanging. Their queen's hanging. What do you do? Okay, currently everything's even. You first take their queen. Okay, you first take their queen. They take your queen with check. You want to move out the way. Okay, their knight's currently trapped, so they will want to take your knight. Your rook would take their knight, and to be honest, this position probably isn't that comfortable because all your pieces are just stuck. But I mean, it's a cool position. Probably will like this position. I don't know, your opponent might have a lot of open lines, but I mean, yeah. Just don't do much about this line. Just probably the terrible line, where you could get fork, but you just don't want to. You don't want to play that line I just showed you. Let me just reset. I want to show you another of my lines, maybe. Not my line, but a line. Oh, I'm just trying to reset. Okay. Okay, this is a Morphe's defense. They attack your bishop. What I would do here, I mean, you could either drop back, which gets your bishop kicked out, or they just, play like this, which this is actually this is the original setup. It's different from the Berlin because your bishop is here instead of there, so. But what I will play here is just to take the knight. They take back with the D pawn, you castle. Remember the thing. Remember the thing. Because when your king was here, takes, the queen will slide here, the knight drops back. Or if you defend, they'll just kick you out with another pawn. And yeah, I'll run out of time. See ya. I ran out of time. See ya. Bye.